Strength training is one of the most overrated things you can do to improve in the sport of distance running. There it is. I said it. Go ahead, unsubscribe, flame me in the comments, whatever. But before you do, watch the full freaking video. I'm going to thoroughly explain what I mean by this. And you're going to realize in the end, wait a second, this guy was right. Strength training is overrated. Now, disclaimer up front, I'm not saying strength training is completely useless for runners. I think some light strength training is great. I'm not saying you should never do it. But the way that strength training is glorified and over-obsessed about in the modern day running influencer world is just, it does not paint a clear picture of how to get better at running. I mean, it's more and more being propped up as this like missing piece or the glue that ties everything together to get you to that next distance running level. It's all so misleading, and it's an agenda. Really, it's an agenda, and which is fine. You know, you can promote what you want online, but I want to give you the truth as a passionate distance runner myself. And I'm not saying I know everything or never listen to other creators or anything like that. And me making this video is promoting an agenda of myself, so I understand that. But I thought about making this video for a while. I think I have some solid points laid out. And overall, I just think I have a compelling argument on why strength training is overrated. And again, I'm not saying all strength training is bad for runners. If you strength train and you enjoy it, it's helping your running, that's amazing. Keep doing your thing. I'm simply sort of responding to this modern sort of idea that you need to be strength training as a distance runner to improve or to prevent injury, so on and so forth. We're going to get into all of this. This might turn into more of a rant, if anything. So razz me in the comments. Let me have it. Let's get into a conversation down there. Love to spark up some debate. Let's get into the video. Okay, I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I am not an exercise physiologist. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm none of those things, okay? I'm just a normal 9-to-5 guy who has a running problem. I love to run. I'm obsessed with distance running. I ran a 2:25 marathon about a month and a half ago at this point. So I've been competitively training for about the past 9 years. So I'm no spring chicken to the sport. There's people who have been doing this way longer than me who have a ton of great advice as well. But all this to say, I've been around, but I am no expert. So to get into this, we're going to consider, for the sake of my argument, an individual who cares solely about improving at distance running. They're not as much concerned with their muscle bulk, the way they look. Nothing against anyone. If you want to be a hybrid athlete sort of person, maybe you're a high rocks guy, maybe you like to have that muscle bulk, that is awesome. That is great for you. This video is not necessarily directed towards that individual. I'm talking about a person who wants to get as best at distance running as humanly possible for their own God-given body. So I make videos on marathons, some on half marathons. But when I say distance running, I really am referring to any distance like 5K and higher. Things get a little bit murky with the whole weightlifting scene with 5K and below maybe. So for the sake of this conversation, I'm more so thinking of like the half marathoner, marathoner sort of guy. But a lot of the tips in here will apply, and they do trickle down to even the shorter stuff. But let's not go there for this talk. A lot of my audience is here for marathon and maybe half marathon and stuff. So let's consider our distance runner being a marathoner or maybe a half marathoner. It doesn't matter, either or. So why would our hypothetical runner who wants to be the best runner they can be, why would they strength train, okay? Let's ask that question. Why strength train? Why do it? At its root, the root of why distance runners strength train at the core, okay, is for two reasons: to prevent injury and to get faster at running. If you were to break it down completely, those are the two reasons. Really, it's all to get faster at running because preventing injury ensures that you can run more and get faster. But if we go a step beyond that, it's to prevent injury and to get faster at running. So preventing injury, let's start with that piece of the puzzle here, okay? So running is a very high stress activity, constant pounding on the pavement, on the trails with your legs and all that. You may develop muscle strains, you may develop stress fractures. There's a lot of risk for injury in running, okay? You might sit in an office all day like I do, or, I try to stand. I'm standing now at my standing desk, but It's also like 10 p.m. at night, so I'm not on the clock or anything. But you might have a tight core. You might develop tightness in your hips, your lower back from sitting all day. That's an injury risk as well. So doing some strength training could help address some of these issues. There's no denying that, okay? I have a core routine. I do a little bit of stability work. But you know what's a lot more effective of a technique for preventing injury and properly recovering for your running performances? Taking EPO. I'm kidding, okay? It's sleeping and eating adequately. Okay, basically recovering is what I'm getting at here. And I want to specify the first part of that. Sleep. Most people eat better than they sleep. They're eating enough. Not everyone though. There are people who, you'd be surprised how many people neglect to get proper nutrition, healthy mix of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, getting in your fruits and vegetables like that. I eat my fair share of junk. We all do. There's always ways to improve on our diet, but the real issue here is sleep, okay? I talk to people in my office who run, I have running buddies. I see people on YouTube who they want to be the best distance runners that they can be, and they're sleeping 6 hours a night, maybe 7 hours a night. And I get it, we have busy lives. You may have a ton of time commitments, children at home, a husband, wife, that sort of thing. But the truth is, dialing in that sleep schedule is the best injury prevention and recovery technique that you can do as a distance runner. 8 hours bare freaking minimum, okay? There are exceptions to this. Michael Ottison, 2:15 marathoner, running YouTuber guy. The dude sleeps like 6 hours a night, and he's becoming like one of America's best marathoners. It's crazy. We are not all like this guy. Most people, if you want to become the best distance runner that's possible for your God-given body, you need to be getting at least 8 hours of sleep. 9 is better, up to 10 if you have time. Again, I get it. It's very, very difficult to have enough time to sleep. We have tons of distractions in modern life, and that certainly doesn't help. But get your sleep. If you're losing sleep because you're spending an extra 3 hours per week trying to strength train, go to sleep. Just stop. If you're watching this video and it's past 10 p.m., turn your phone off. I'm not that important. Actually, I need the views. Turn the phone down, listen to my soothing voice as you fall asleep. What I'm trying to say here is sleeping that extra hour a night, even extra half hour, okay? That's going to give you far better of an injury prevention resistance than strength training ever will. I am reading right now that the average American sleeps between 6.8 and 7 hours per night. That's not enough. I get it. It's not the average distance runner American, but even if you're an average person, that's on the lower end. America, we're a little bit low. I think Mexico, they actually have the highest sleep hours per night out of most countries in the world. So I shoot for 9 hours a night, and I get it. Again, it's not achievable for everybody. Aim for 8. Do it, especially if you're running at a high level. Aim for 8 or 9. You need it. You deserve it. And if you consistently get below 8, and I get it, there's some genetic component to it as well. Guys like Michael, freaks of nature can get away maybe with a lower amount of sleep, and of course your sleep quality, that plays a factor too. But if you try to just keep rolling and ripping with high level distance running off of 6-7 hours of sleep, you are not going to be able physically to handle the stress. You're going to get injured, and mentally you're going to go insane, and you're not going to be able to handle stress overall, both physical and mental. Let's take Eliud Kipchoge as an example for this, okay? He sleeps 8 to 9 hours a night. He also takes a 1 to 2 hour nap during the day, okay? He's very lucky to be able to do that. So he's sleeping anywhere between 9 and 11 hours per day, all right? And this is Eliud Kipchoge, the fastest marathoner ever. He also doesn't strength train all that much. He does a little bit of resistance bands and that sort of thing. This is all what I'm reading online. I don't know. Maybe he's in the gym squatting 450 right now, and we just don't know it. But I don't believe he does a ton of strength training. Running is his main thing. Strength training is not going to save you from subpar sleep. It's not going to save you from eating only processed foods. It's not going to save you from getting drunk 2 nights a week. Cut that down to 1. Take a self-reflection on everything you do to recover your body for your run the next day, right? Cut out those bad habits if you can. get to sleep and eat enough food, okay? This is going to help you a lot more than lifting weights will if you only care about running faster, all right? That's what I'm getting at with this point. All right, the second reason why runners may strength train, I said it earlier, to get faster, okay? We are aspiring distance runners. We want to get faster. That is the goal, right? At the end of the day, we want to cross that marathon finish line with a PR, cross that half marathon line with a PR. That's what we live for, okay? Get faster. That's the second reason why we might strength train. You know, it makes sense. Maybe weightlifting will improve muscle strength, better your running economy, efficiency, give you more power output with each step. But you know what's a lot better of a stimulus to get faster at running? I'm gonna give you guys a second on this one. Actually running. Shocker, right? I mean, who would have guessed? Shouldn't come as a surprise, but in today's day and age where we see these running influencers hitting the gym 3 times a week, it can send a wrong message or a misleading message to the average viewer who just wants to get better at distance running. Look, guys, 95% of distance running improvement is made through running more miles and fueling, sleeping, recovering from those miles, okay? Weightlifting is not in that 95%. We are distance runners. We are training to do this. We're not training to do this, okay? That needs to be freaking ingrained into your head, okay? If you really just want to be a good distance runner. You don't have to be doing strength training. A ton of it anyways. I said 95+%. We can debate the remaining 5% or less, you know. Sure, strength training is likely encompassed in that 5%. If you truly care at just getting faster, the way to do it is to increase your running volume. And most of those miles that you run are, you know, between zone 1, zone 3, whatever you want to call it, easy-ish running, that sort of thing. That's the way you get better, okay? You just run more. Maybe most of you know this. I hope you do. But some of the people I talk to, man, they really want to get better at running, and they just don't understand the fact that you have to lay the groundwork. You have to put in a ton of miles, and it's hard work. And a lot of people want the shortcut, the easy way out. You know, maybe I'll lift weights 3 times a week, only run 30 miles a week, and I could run a 2:30 marathon. Maybe. No, you can't, all right? You need to run more. That's the truth, okay? That's the takeaway. You need to take yourself and sit in a corner, like every week, okay? At the end of the week, every Sunday, you need to sit in a corner and just think and remind yourself of how important your weekly running volume is. If I want to get faster, I need to run more miles. You need to constantly remind yourself of this. Cut out all the other bullshit you see online, all the other freaking running influencers squatting. Oh, do this workout. You have to be training zone 2. No, don't even think of it like that. Run more, eat food, sleep a lot. That is 95% of getting better at this sport, okay? And look, I have tried several times throughout my running career to incorporate high amounts of strength training, right? Like 1 to 2 days a week of dedicated strength training, squats, deadlifts, that sort of thing. And it has never helped me at all. If anything, it's actually hurt me. I've actually overtrained and even developed muscle issues from strength training. So that's always a concern too. You could overdo it. And I do realize that maybe I don't respond as well just genetically to strength training as other people might. So I ran Division I in the last 2 years of my college career. And we were hitting the gym under my second coach specifically for track season, but for cross country as well. We were hitting the gym like dedicated 2 times a week, okay? And I had a lot of teammates who ran really well off of that. They responded well to the strength training. They were more so 800, 1500 meter guys though. It seemed to be the more distance you went on the track or, you know, in cross country or whatever, the higher distance you run, the less important strength training is. It's funny because my first coach I had in college, Lee Labady, okay, sub 4-minute miler, like back in the 1980s or something. He was Clayton Murphy's coach. He might still be Clayton Murphy's coach now. Clayton and I went to the same high school. You know, Clayton, bronze in the Rio 2016 Olympics, 800 meter, absolutely incredible runner. But under him, Lee Labady, my first coach, Under him, he never really wanted us to do too much strength training. He was honestly almost against it, right? I remember him saying, you sort of get more bang for your buck with doing, maybe some hill work and really just getting all those adaptations from the hard running workouts and, the other miles you're doing in your training. He was against weightlifting, all right? More so for the longer distance guys. Again, he did have Clayton in the gym. Clayton did a lot of gym work. It's different when you're an 800, 1500 kind of guy that's in that sort of murky area I was saying, below 5K. But yeah, I think Coach Labady was right. Most of the adaptations are made through hard workouts and actual running, not strength training, okay? All right, now that I beat that dead horse freaking with a baseball bat, I want to give some credit to strength training and kind of discuss when it's appropriate, when you should do it, that sort of thing. But first off, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you are doing strength training and you are enjoying it and you are achieving your running goals, keep doing your thing, okay? Don't stop because a guy on YouTube is telling you to. If you inherently have some sort of muscle imbalance or you just cannot seem to stay free from injury and you're already sleeping 8, 9, 10 hours a night, you have your diet locked in, but you're still not getting over your injury, then it's definitely a good approach to use some sort of strength training to address your issues. I think a great place to start, and it obviously depends on what sort of issues you're having, but say you have tight hamstrings, your lower back is killing you every day, okay? You sit at an office all day. A lot of people go through this issue, right? Adding in a core routine, a couple minutes after your run each day. You don't have to go crazy with it. Maybe you only do it 2 days a week, but you spend 10 or 15 minutes on it. Maybe you do it every day, but just a few exercises afterwards. I think that's a great place to start. If you're having other sort of issues, shin splints, muscle tightness in your lower legs, you can do some balancing, stability sort of drills. Don't come to me for any and all of this stuff necessarily. There's a lot of good routines you can find online and whatnot. And it certainly depends on the issues you're having, okay? I'm no expert on strength training, okay? I just made a video on why strength training is overrated. I certainly don't think the answer is hopping in the gym with some heavy weights, squatting, deadlifting. I think if anything, that could honestly end up hurting you. If you want to lift weights, if you want to get into that sort of thing where you're squatting, deadlifting, yada, 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 I would definitely ease into it, okay? Be careful. Don't get hurt from that. Another good case for strength training, okay? I mentioned most of your running improvements, right? Running more, sleeping and eating enough, okay? But if you've already found your mileage sweet spot, you're maybe a high mileage gal or guy, and you're injury free, right? You have time to sleep, your diet's pretty good, and you're looking for that next edge sort of thing, and you have time. That's the other thing. You have time for it. A lot of us don't have a ton of time, okay? We're not elite runners. We're not in high school and college anymore. Some of you guys are. And even then, you're definitely loaded up with work for sure. But if you have the luxury to have enough time, it would not hurt to do some strength training. That's why we see Olympians and really, really fast marathoners, half marathoners, 5K, 10K, especially the shorter stuff. They're hitting the gym pretty consistently. They're doing quite a bit of gym work. Not necessarily heavy weightlifting. Some of them are. Clayton Young squats. He's American marathoner. I just said Clayton Murphy, he hits the gym a lot. Of course, he's a shorter distance guy, but you will see a lot of those people who have a ton of time and because they're elite runners, they hit the gym. They want that extra edge. They're searching for that 5% I was talking about or less, okay? 95% running, sleep, eat. 5% weightlifting is in there, 3-ish%, okay? They're trying to maximize every little thing they can. They're trying to squeeze the lemon so hard where they get all the juice out, and the juice is their energy power to run fast. But yeah, not trying to sound like a broken record here, but the bottom line is busy humans who simply care about just maximizing your distance running performance, you don't necessarily need to be weightlifting. I know what you see online. Don't take it at face value. Strength training should not be the first thing you look at to do if you want to get faster, okay? 95+% of your battle is fought through running, sleeping, and eating. You can reserve that strength training for that extra few percent if you wish. Personally, guys, right now I'll continue to do the little strength training that I currently do, but I just can't see a world where if I had more time, I wouldn't just want to run more miles and focus more on sleep. That's just me. Do what works for you. This video has turned into a long rant pretty much. I know a lot of people probably aren't going to receive this very well, so let me know what you think in the comments. I'm just giving my opinion on the matter, okay? Who knows? Maybe in a few years, I'll be the next Nick Bear. Do your research. Never listen to the advice of just one person on the internet. Do your due diligence. And thank you guys for watching. I wish you the best of luck in all your running endeavors, and I'll catch you in the next video.